This girl is more or less sick. Hid a pig in her desk and fed it milk in class. She's a role model for me. Hiding toys in pepperoni is not a good idea, but Paige hadn't had enough. The noise brought the teacher to her door. She was caught red-handed. It's all over now. In fact, when Paige was first born, because his mother didn't have enough milk, she almost won the lottery for reincarnation. Luckily, the girl stopped her dad in time. I'll take care of it. Since then, she has been a full-time mother. She fed Peachy every day and tried her best to nurse him. She even made him a pram. She pushes him around. She even sleeps with him at night. She also washed him when she had nothing else to do. But then one day, her father suddenly told her, "We can't have a pet at home. Pet that would grow to 300 pounds. She had to get rid of Paige no matter what. Luckily, her mother came out to intervene. She said she could take Paige to her uncle's barn across the street. The next day the girl reluctantly took him to the barn. She promised to come and see him more often. After saying this, she left sadly. Peachy couldn't let her go either, watching her back as she left, trying hard to break out of prison, but he couldn't find a way out. If there is no exit, then create one. He shakes his body and chased after the girl. The animals in the barn. All the animals in the barn rush out to see what's going on. Even the goose can't help but and flew up to the fence. They were all curious if Paige will succeed. Just then the uncle with his pig food in his hand, calling to Paige, he turned his head and ran for the food. This makes the animals cry out in dismay. Little does Paige, who is eating, know that no pig in spring will ever see the snow of winter. As time goes by, the girl comes less and less often. He can only see her off to school every day, expecting her to come back sooner. He wants to play with the animals in the barn, but they didn't want to talk to him. Peachy ran out happily. He took a bath in the mud. He was completely transformed into a little mud pig. After a while he comes back and asks, but still no one would talk to him, with no friends to make Paige. He can't even eat anymore. At night, he lies alone in the barn, repeating good night over and over again. This is the promise he made with the girl, and then a gentle voice rings out, "Good night." Paige stood up and searched around. He couldn't see where the voice was coming from. Then the voice said again, "You're a very good little piggy. If you just take a ride to bed now, and tomorrow you will see me." This made Peachy very happy, and he fell into a peaceful sleep. Early the next morning, he couldn't wait to ask the other animals, but no animal came forward to admit it. And then a spider slowly slid down the door frame. Before Paige could speak to it, the horse is almost scared to death. Even the sheep are disgusted. Only Paige was willing to talk to him. He even offered to learn to weave a net with him. And then an unlucky fly fell into the spider's web. The spider rushed up to it and wrapped it in spider silk. It was another delicious breakfast. This spider is having breakfast. Straight away the horse, scared to death. The spider says you have people to provide food, and it needs to catch its own prey. If they don't catch flying insects, the flying insects would have flooded and take over the world and destroy the planet. These words made Paige admire them, a spider and a pig, and so they became good friends. The spider said his name was Charlotte. All he does is spin a web. So Paige followed his example. One day the goose gave birth to 7 baby geese, but there was one bad egg that didn't hatch. So the mouse wanted to add it to his collection. The cow told him not to break it. A rotten egg is no less powerful than a nuclear bomb. But then the day came when the unexpected happened. A yellow-haired child with a pitchfork and cut Charlotte down, covering him with a glass bottle. Peachy tried to save him, gnawing at his shoelaces. The yellow hair fell on his face, shattered the mouse's collection room, detonating the rotten egg, and all the animals were killed. Charlotte escaped with her life, and then the mouse came out of his burrow in front of all the animals and said that Paige would be made into a Christmas dinner. Roast suckling pig. Paige looked so innocent and unbelieving. Went to Charlotte for confirmation, but instead, he was told that pigs in spring rarely see snow in winter. Now Paige believed it, but he still wanted to live. He wanted to see snow, so Charlotte promised him that she would find a way to keep him alive, even though he was only a spider. At night Charlotte is weaving her web. She was weaving a spider's web that had blown off. Suddenly she had an inspiration, so she flies up and down the spider's web, snapping this thread, and then she connects it to that one. He works all night long, using up all the knowledge in his little brain. The boy who came to feed the spider the next day was shocked. He called everyone to see it. The spider web said, "A certain pig." Everyone was amazed, and so the barn became a hit, and so did Paige. With Charlotte's encouragement, Paige smiled for the camera with confidence. Everyone applauded him, Charlotte's move, and the animals were impressed. But after a few weeks, the heat of the story had worn off. There's a good chance that Paige wouldn't see the winter snow yet, so an emergency meeting was held in the barn. Charlotte needed a suitable adjective to make Paige special. All the animals could think of was delicious, crunchy, red hot, fried, steamed. In the end, it was up to Paige herself. So the next day, the little man who came to feed him was shocked again. The word stick made the barn a hit again. This time it was even hotter. More people came, but one summer later, still hasn't made a difference to people. The feeder boy was about to clean the smokehouse. Paige was stunned when she heard, so the barn calls another emergency meeting. They send the mouse to collect the right words. He risked being attacked by crows. He brought back a note from outside. Charlotte reads the words on the note, and then she looked at Paige. It was perfect. So the next morning, the glorious spider web and the pig once again caught the attention of the crowd. It was also given the opportunity to enter the exhibition. Never in his wildest dreams did Paige think that he would one day have a milk bath because he's going to an animal show. The farmer said, if he wins, All is well. If he loses, he'll bring it back for bacon, and the milk will be used as a condiment. This statement scared Paige straight away. Charlotte saw this and found the mouse. She decided to help Paige win, even though he was already pregnant. She was very weak. To keep her promise, he followed Paige to the fair. Charlotte has found Paige's rival, a big, greasy, fat pig. In terms of size, it was a big disadvantage for Paige, so Charlotte sent the mouse to find a better word than fat pig. It was the last chance to save Paige, so the mouse took another risk, bringing back a note from the sea of people. Charlotte read the note, reassured Paige, and then he dragged his weary body, ready to get to work. The next morning people came to see Paige, and found modesty on the new spider web. This gave them confidence, but then they turned around, and found that the big fat pig had won. Now Peachy was going to be slaughtered. They all felt very sorry for him. They were ready to take him home. Just then the crowd noticed the cobwebs, and the exhibition staff found them, and finally Paige made her way to the podium. He was awarded a special medal, Charlotte's Miracle, and it made the farmer and the people to change their minds about Paige. And now she's on her final mission, with her egg sacs wrapped in spider silk. Inside are her 666 babies. She tells Paige that neither he nor his children will ever return. She will soon be finished with her pig. It's the cycle of life. Paige is devastated by the news. Her eyes were already full of tears. Charlotte had done so much for him. He had to do something, so he asked the mouse to take the egg sac down. Paige then hid it in her mouth, and so Paige was gone. Charlotte went quietly too. Back in the barn, Paige looked sadly at the broken spider web, and all the animals bowed their heads. A moment of silence for Charlotte. He had kept his promise. The spring pig saw the winter snow. Outside the house it was cold and snowy, but inside the barn was warm. It's spring and the little spiders are all crawling out. With their spider silk, they float in the wind. They go to all corners of the world to help the people. The animals that were afraid of spiders, they are no longer afraid. And when all the little spiders have flown away, 3 little webs appeared on the door frame. The 3 little spiders told Paige they liked it here. They want to stay and replace their mother. To continue this precious friendship, Charlotte spent her short life to fulfill her promise to her friend, and Paige's enthusiasm has changed all animals' perceptions of spiders. One is a spider, no matter what others think. You're the best friend I've ever had.